It's time to laugh, learn, and take your photography to the next level with your favorite cowgirls with cameras, Kara, Kim, and Phyllis.
Welcome to the Cowgirls with Cameras podcast. I'm Kim with Kim Beer Photography and Be More Business.
I'm Kara with Fast Horse Photography.
And I'm Phyllis with Phyllis Burchett Photo. Hello.
Hi.
Hey, everybody. Long time no see. Oh, goodness. What have you all been up to? We're getting excited. We're leaving for Colorado. Gold. Are you ready to be ensconced in gold aspen trees?
I'm
Yes.
ready
love
for
that.
sweater weather.
Yes.
Sweater
ready
weather.
for
Yes,
sweater weather.
definitely.
For some of us, it'll
Uh,
be the heated jackets with the batteries charging. So, yes, I'm
Oh,
ready.
goodness.
I'm ready.
You
Can't
and your
wait.
heated vests.
Listen, I live in Florida. I get to wear it like 10 times a year if I'm lucky. So, this is, I got to get it out. I got to wear it. I got to model it.
I'd like to be able to get into the one I have. I can't. I'm not gonna. There's no judgment because I do have one. So
You know how good they are.
mhm.
You know.
I
I've
have
only worn
one,
it
but
one
you know what?
time.
I don't even think I don't even know where it went, and I gave it to Nick, and I don't even think he wore it once last year. We'll have to
Well,
find
you guys
it.
are missing out. Sorry. When I'm warm and you guys are cold, I'll remind you that you own jackets and you should have figured it out. So,
You know what? I hope it is that cold there because
I
I am ready for it.
I don't want it to be quite that cold, but it's going to be gorgeous regardless. Bring it on. I cannot wait to be in fall color with horses.
Fall color.
And
It's horses.
I get to
and-
do something exciting before I see you guys because I'm
Yeah.
going to South Dakota to the bison roundup at the Custer State Park.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kim and I are very jealous. We're very
Well, we
jealous.
get to go to the poetry thing.
That's
That's
true. We're
true.
going to have a great
We're
time.
gonna have a great time. I'm excited about the poetry thing at Trappers Lake.
I
So
probably won't be there in time for that.
nope, you won't. But it's okay because I'm
Listen.
gonna enjoy the heck out of it for both of us.
I'm at a stage in my life right now where I can't just be gone all the time. I have a 12-year-old. We have things we have to do as parents. Eventually, I will also live that life where I can travel all the time and be free to go to the bison thing and the poetry thing and
Then-
the trappers thing.
Then
So-
I'll probably be retired by the time that happens.
Now I'll be
so-
pushing you around in your wheelchair. We'll have to get
Oh,
you a
God,
we'll have to
let's not
get
put
you
her
a
in a
lighter camera.
wheelchair.
We'll have to get you a lighter
God.
camera so you can hold it up. You'll still be out there shooting.
Oh gosh. No, we're aiming for she's gonna be just fine with the giant Nikons bouncing around the whole way.
That's what's gonna keep me going. Is all that heavy gear. I'm gonna
All
be
those
Building your
giant
muscles up.
Nikons.
Mhm.
Strength training, photography
Yep,
strength training.
Photography strength training. Oh goodness. So yes, we're excited about heading out to Trappers Lake Lodge and getting to meet up and see each other in person and seeing our friends. And then I'm headed off to Powderhorn after that. And Kara and Phyllis are headed off in a different direction. And then I don't know, that concludes my photography workshop leader season. I'll be back here working on community stuff, which
Yeah.
is high priority for me. I've been doing 2 lives a month in the community. One for the paid community members for our founding herd members, and then one also for our herd member initiates who are there for free. And so super excited about the topics I've got coming up for the rest of the year and that in Photoshop and Lightroom and tossing in some business and mindset stuff probably along the way as well. So super pumped to get home and get settled in on concentrating on building out some really good content so that as we're all freezing to death over the winter and we can sit in our heated jackets and watch videos and learn new things.
Yay. I am full on into the planning and marketing and scheduling and creative consults for my fall equestrian portrait season right now. So I have put together a kind of a lengthy plan in terms of marketing, and I'm hopeful that I could just get my fall filled really quickly and I can be done with it because I don't like to shoot a ton of sessions. I just like to shoot a couple of sessions a week. So usually I get to a place where I'm just kind of booked out and then I don't have to think about anything. I can push everybody to the new year or push them to the next year. So pretty excited to be at that part of the season where things get
Mhm.
really busy and exciting. And before we know it, we're going to be like putting up the Christmas tree. So
I
Oh
know.
gosh, don't talk like
I
that.
I'm
No.
just no. Yes. I just excited for sweater weather and the holidays, and I got 2 more trips after
I don't think I
we
can
get
hear her
back
say
from
that
that.
again.
What,
Sweater
I
sweater
can't
weather.
weather?
either. Sweater
Sweater
weather.
weather, sweater weather, sweater weather.
Oh,
Oh, goodness.
You
Mm.
don't have to hear me again after today.
it makes my ears hurt.
So, moving on. Well, Kara, you know what? Our episode today may be able to help you with all of the marketing that you're doing
Yeah,
because we're going to be talking about
it's definitely
freshening up your
it
marketing.
definitely was part of, like, me being smart about putting together some plans this year and being a little less, like, willy-nilly. It was more like, "Okay, let's actually create a plan and a process and put it into action and see how that makes my life easier." So, I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, let's freshen up everybody's marketing. So today we're going to be talking about some things that you can do to freshen up your marketing. And we're going to have start with Phyllis, who is going to take us back to basics a little bit here. So sometimes freshening up our marketing. So I guess what I want to say is, you know how it's orange is the new black. That was a trend for a little while with the TV show. So networking is the new social media. So, but it was the old social media as well. So Phyllis is going to talk to us about networking. And then I'm going to drop in here and talk a little bit about, we're going to go way into the future with getting found on AI. So that one's an interesting one, utilizing AI as a marketing tool. And then Kara is going to drop in with some interesting little new things that have come up in conversations that you might be maybe haven't tried yet that you might wanna think about trying. So, we have some interesting things to talk about today. So, Phyllis, why don't you go ahead and take it away, and then we'll, head over to me and then Kara.
This feels kinda weird going first. Y'all
It
don't
does, doesn't it?
y'all don't usually let me do that, so
You
there's
just
a reason
you're
for that
just
too.
getting lucky.
So, okay, well, one of the most powerful tools we have is old-fashioned in-person. That's why y'all let me go first, because 'cause we're talking about old-fashioned, isn't it? Yeah, that's probably why.
We're just
Yeah.
respecting our elders.
Yeah. Yeah, I know we live in a digital world, but now more than ever, there's something I think truly unforgettable, but actually chatting face to face, whether it be on Zoom or I think even better in person. Uh, when you're networking, it's not just about handing out business cards, it's about creating connections, which is so much easier to do in person than it is on social media or an email or something like that. You can ask kind of like open-ended questions from the people that that you're meeting. Like, I don't know, something like what brought you here today or what projects are you working on? I think if you show genuine curiosity, people will remember that. They'll remember how you made them feel, that you were interested in them. You were genuinely interested in them as a person. And some great places that to network or uh, as equine photographers or local equine events. Even Chamber of Commerce mixers are kind of handy because you never know who you're going to run into there. That even though they may not be a horse person, they may know a horse person that they might want to introduce you to. Barn open houses, photography or creative conferences. And I think the biggest thing about when you do meet people at these things and you get that connection started is the really key thing is to follow up on that connection that you've made with a quick email or even a friendly Instagram message within, or if you have a card, maybe text them or something. I say usually within 48 hours, keeps that connection alive. Do it quickly so they don't forget who that was that they just met. Another great way to freshen up your marketing is by sponsoring or setting up a booth at events. You can be a sponsor for that event or set up a booth there. And think creatively. Think about what you can do that adds real value to the attendees. If it's an equine event, you could set up a photo booth, backdrop at a local horse show where riders and families could grab fun pictures, not just the serious, win pictures, but fun pictures too. If it's a photography related event, consider offering maybe free branded a giveaway like a lens cloth or maybe notepads, something useful that they'll keep and see your logo on there every time they pick it up to use. Um, Choose your events wisely. Ask yourself, are the people attending my ideal clients? Sometimes that's hard to know, so you'd have to really do your research on that. And not only that, but is the investment, both in time, money, and your time, worth it? Sometimes smaller local shows give you more meaningful connections than a huge expo. I know, Kara, you've done a lot of that with your local horse community, through horse shows and just the clubs and everything. It's really gotten your foot in the door with a lot of people too.
For sure.
Mhm. I think the most powerful form of marketing I know for me has been word of mouth. People trust recommendations from friends more than anything. And how do we encourage that? I think by celebrating your clients with their permission, share their photos online, tag them, thank them publicly. Sorry, or even maybe create a simple referral program when they refer a new client to you. Maybe they receive a free print or a discount or a bonus credit for their next session. Don't forget a simple shout out even to the person who referred you. Thanks to Lynn for connecting me with Amy. It really goes a long way just to acknowledge people that have referred you to other clients. My last one is joint ventures and partnerships where we team up with other businesses to reach a shared audience. I think this is a really good one. Think of tack shops, trainers, barns, even equine brands. For example, you could host like a holiday photo party at a barn, or a photo day, where both you and the trainer promote it. Therefore, it benefits both of you. Maybe a tack shop displays your work in their store where you can get visibility and they get beautiful decor. Or partner with an equine brand, product brand for a giveaway on social media. Always think about what's in it for them. That's how you'll know how to get a yes. Is think about what you can do for that brand, and you're more likely to get a yes to partner with you on something. It's
Nice. Joint ventures are how I've built my business.
mhm.
Yeah,
I
meeting other people and partnering.
I
Yeah.
would agree with that.
Mhm.
That and just getting out there and boots on the grounds. Like, I don't think that there's not enough people today, especially in our line of work, that are getting out there and meeting people face to face because we're so digital now and we expect so much for social media to do all the work for us. And I have found so much value in just going to a small local event or joining a local horse club or horse council and going to meetings and talking to people and just talking with them face to face.
Mhm.
I found so much value in that.
I totally agree.
Absolutely.
Yep. So who's next?
I am, and I'm going to go completely the opposite direction of old fashioned boots on the ground and go way into the future and talk about using AI. So, in this particular case, I'm not talking about you utilizing AI to get something done in your own business, but understanding how AI works so that when someone that is interested in utilizing your services asks a question in Google Gemini, that you are part of the solution that comes up, that it presents to people. And it was interesting because we were talking about this topic at Dryhead and we were kind of coming up with our podcast episodes for the rest of the year. And I sat down with ChatGPT, I think, actually, and asked it some questions about equine photography workshops that were Western based. And it was lovely to see us come up in
Yep.
the results. And
Yay!
um, so, I want to talk a little bit about how you can start to create that for yourself so that people who are asking AI for information about equine photography will get you in the response if it is a fitting response. And this type of search is becoming more and more prevalent in how we are interacting with businesses and as consumers. It is now one of the you'll get the AI answer in Google before you get the list of businesses. So where we always used to get really worried about where we rank in that particular list of search returns, now we're getting concerned about how can we help AI be able to deliver us as a solution to a potential customer. So first of all, AI doesn't just know. That's, I think, a misconception that people have. We kind of just assume AI knows. It actually looks for signals from all kinds of places, like your website, social platforms, from your Google search information, your Google My Business information that you've put out there, and from basically all of your digital presence that it has access to on the internet. So it's really looking at you from across all of those different platforms, and that means that your digital presence needs to be clear, consistent, and connected in order for the AI to be able to connect all of the dots and return you as a recommendation. So here are some things that I would like for you to think about where this is concerned. And to be honest, before I get into this and you go, "Oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to do this because it's AI," right? Honestly, if you are serving your customers well, this, just like SEO, will naturally fall into place. So, first of all, don't go down the rabbit hole of I can't do this because I'm not techie enough. That's not the point here. The point is that if you actually are serving your customers and not trying to be gimmicky or cheaty in any kind of way, you're probably doing just fine. But if you want to up your game a little, here are some ways that you can do so. So, first of all, when AI is looking at the query that is being done, and most people in the context of finding an equine photographer are going to search for context. That's the equine photographer, right? And photography in general. And then the location. So, where are you? And then your specific niche, which would be in this case, Western photography for, let's say, Kara or Phyllis or myself. So context, sorry, plus location plus niche. So that's what you want to concentrate on. And you're going to use keywords and phrases. Nobody ever searches for just one word any longer. We search for actually longer and longer questions. And AI really encourages you to search for paragraph long queries where you're giving a lot of context and a lot of parameters that the computer can use and the AI can use when it goes out and looks at all the various choices for that particular query. So, when you're writing your blog posts, when you're putting things on your website, when you're putting out your social media posts, we want to understand that context plus location plus niche are really important and use that in our keywords and phrases. There are some other things that are super helpful, and these also benefit your SEO or search engine optimization as well. One of those for photographers is using alt tag text tags on your images. So when you put an image up on a website, you want to have the alternate text in there that describes the image, and you want to use very descriptive keywords that mention, again, context, location, niche, right? So we want to definitely give those alt text tags on your website anytime that you can, and be pretty descriptive in
Can
it.
you give an example?
So, for example, let's say the picture that sits behind you, Kara, if that was something that you were going to put on your website,
Right.
you might put, I don't know, remember what
Here, I'll
color the
show you what
horse
it
is.
looks like.
Yeah, there she's going to show you if you're on the thing. So, beautiful woman in under
Spanish
mossy
moss,
oaks
oak
in Florida.
trees,
Yeah, the what do they call what do you call those
s
oak trees?
oak trees, Spanish
Well,
moss,
Spanish moss, oak
live oaks.
trees,
Yeah, they're live oaks.
live oak moss,
And she's
Spanish
standing
moss
with a
in
Frisian.
Florida, standing with a Frisian horse, in a gown, romantic, special moment kind of thing. Like you're basically describing what the image looked like. And I just did a
Gotcha.
really crappy job of doing that. But what you
I
want
put
to
you on the
do
spot.
you did, but what you want is you wanna tell the story of the image, and here's, I think, the best way for you to do this as a content creator is think about if you were describing this to a person who could not see. So, another thing that happens with these alt text tags is when someone is visually impaired, the screen reader will actually read the alt text tag to them. So, when you're doing it and as you're sitting there creating these alt text tags for your images, think about creating them for that person who is visually impaired and cannot see it. So, you have to describe it. And you also need to consider, again, that context, location, and niche, because we're not just describing it for the person who is visually impaired. We're also describing it for AI to be able to find and deliver back to somebody who is interested in equine photography. So we might want to add the words in there Florida equine, or image by Florida equine photographer, fast horse photography. I mean, we're going to use branded things in there as well. But do remember this sometimes does get read by the system to a human. So we're not just doing this for the AI. We're doing it for those people that need to have that in order to be able to visualize what you are talking about. And it really serves three purposes. It helps the AI find you, it helps SEO be able to index your site better, and it also helps visually impaired individuals be able to interact with your site, with your website better.
As someone who
So,
lives where one of the biggest, schools for the deaf and blind is located, I find that extremely useful because, I have clients who are vision impaired and I have clients who are deaf, and, I I like knowing that I'm putting that information in a way that's out there that is accessible and that it has this added benefit of being picked up easily by Google and
absolutely.
AI.
Absolutely. It really just is a win-win-win situation all the way around. Another thing that's really important is having some dedicated pages for your services and location. Because again, when we're talking about equine photography, if you are serving a national level and fine art kind of photography, it's going to differ a little bit. But for portrait photographers specifically, you are definitely going to want to have a page that talks about your locations that you serve. And having that even built into the URL is nice. So, like having a web page called my photography equine photography services in St. Augustine, Florida. I mean, you can go to the thing of putting that in. It would be fasthorsephotography.com/ my photography services in St. Augustine, Florida, equine photography services. So you can get really long in some of these URLs. It's honestly okay if you're not just handing it out, but it helps the AI and algorithms and all of the bots be able to index that better for people who would be saying, "How do I find and work with a horse photographer in St. Augustine, Florida?" Right? And not to mention, most of us inadvertently or on purpose have our location services turned on our various devices. So even if you don't type in your location, your personal the things that your computer saves about you, those are the things that are going to it's going to get indicated that you're in Florida if you're searching for it in Florida. So very important, a couple of really important things. Another thing that is really important is being consistent, especially in your bio, your hashtags, and how you talk about your business over multiple platforms. So having a consistent bio in your on your website, having a consistent bio on your social media, filling out the bio on your social media, which not everybody does, but having those be consistently the same language or at least close to is another way that you can signal to AI that you are consistent and therefore trustworthy. Hashtags are important, and also utilizing natural language. So we have to remember AI is not. People seem to think that you have to become a prompt engineer. I spend a great deal of my life busting that myth. These AI models are really built to speak like humans. They're not there's no, like, secret key. You talk to it like you would talk to another person. So if you were wanting to ask your best friend about recommending equine photographers, in Covington, Georgia, you would ask it that. You wouldn't ask your best friend, "I want an equine photographer in Covington, Georgia, and she must be this, this, and this." You might say that to your friend, but you're not gonna add a bunch of other crazy things on the end of it that fit with an acronym. So, I mean, just talk to it and write for it in a natural language because that's what it's used to picking up. Another thing that really signals trust is when there are third party references, and a couple of ways that third party references happen, reviews, link backs. So, anybody that is linking back to your website, this also helps with SEO. It's another really good SEO practice. So, if you're able to get your website listed on other websites, like the Horse Club says, recommended photographers, and put you in as a recommended photographer, the more of those that you have, the more trustworthy you become. If you're an EPNet member, Equine Photographers Network member, or a PPA member, filling out your profiles on those sites so that they link back to your website, it's another thing. It signals that you're real and who you say you are, and it signals trust to the AI. So it can feel more comfortable, if AIs can feel comfortable with anything, in giving out your information. So, all really important reviews, tags, links backs, all of those things. And then the final piece of advice I have is think like your customer. So, think, what would my customers type into an AI tool that would find them someone like me? And what frequently asked questions do I get all of the time? And be able to answer those on your website. And then again, provide them answers on social media. Again, the more consistent, and two, I don't want you to be so repetitive you drive the humans crazy, but you need to be repetitive enough that the robots go, "Oh, I see a pattern." So that's that's some ways to work with AI. This is a brand new this is it's old in that it's very similar to SEO, but it is a new way that we're learning to find businesses, interact with businesses, and work with businesses. So as a business, you need to be aware that your consumers are using it and start to modify some of your SEO practices so that you do it better.
I'll tell you what's eye-opening too is when you start to ask your clients how they found you, that's exceptionally eye-opening, and
Yeah.
we've seen a trend when we ask people, "How did you learn about Cowgirls with Cameras?" They're finding us by the podcast, they're finding us, on Google, but recently, they've started saying, "We found you on ChatGPT," or "We found you," through one of
I
those
asked
AI chan
ChatGPT or ask
Yeah,
Claude.
and
Yeah.
that's to me, there's no better proof of where you need to be than when your people start telling you how they found you, you
Yeah.
know? So, yeah, that's pretty powerful. Some of the things that, I'm gonna talk about today are just some kind of alternatives, some other options out there in the world, and maybe some things that you've seen before, but you haven't tried. So when we got back from our Cottonwood Ranch event, we had been somewhere with just kind of limited Wi-Fi and limited phone calls. And I got to the airport or got to the hotel actually the night before. And I was looking at my phone and I had like 20 voice messages. And I was going through them and they were all just like, they were businesses, trying to get my business. They were people trying to get my business. And I was going through and I'm like, my phone never rang on all of these. And it dawned on me that a lot of companies today are using a program called Voice Drops. And I heard about this program first through my photography friends, Betsy Bird of Ride the Sky Equine and Tracy Allard of Penny Whistle Photography. And they've started using this in their businesses. And it dawned on me that that's what this is. So for those of you who are wondering what voice drops are, they are those short, pre-recorded voice messages that are sent out to a client list. So if you're ever looking at your phone and you're like, I didn't hear my phone ring, but I have a voicemail, and that's happening kind of repetitively, it's because the business is using something called a voice drop. And those are short pre recorded voice messages that are sent to your list. They feel personal, they stand out from email, and they add a human touch, a human element to the marketing. So a great example might be if you've got fall sessions coming up, you might create a voicemail that says something along the lines of, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know that my fall session spots are open, and I would love to have you book with me again this year if there's anything that you need." And then you can, instead of dropping that into instead of calling them, you can actually drop that right into their voicemail, and they'll pick up their phone and they'll hear your voice. So that personal piece of it is that they've worked with you before, they recognize your voice, you're being personal in the voicemail, but it isn't as scary or off-putting for people, especially generations of people who don't like to pick up the phone and talk on the phone. It gives you a way to connect with them without that feeling of having to talk to them on the phone. Um, I would say that these are working because most people routinely are ignoring marketing emails today. I can't tell you, I go through it. First thing I do every morning is I go through without opening the emails and I delete everything all at once. And I think that our emails, as awesome as we think we are individually as equine photographers, I think people do that to us too sometimes because their inboxes get full. Um, it can also, be I will say they might be deleting their emails, but they do often check their voicemails. So people do go and do a run through of their voicemails, before deleting. And then also hearing your actual voice helps build connection, and helps make you familiar. And it's especially powerful, in service-based industries like what we're in, like photography. My suggestion for this would be keep it short, keep it casual, keep it warm. It should not be like a sales call, but more like a quick hello. So think about that. There's options out there. There are services out there that are really reasonably priced that you could give a try this fall when you're trying to book your season. Okay. The next thing is probably a little more something that you've heard of, and that's SMS marketing. And those are that might look like a text reminder for mini sessions or deadlines for holiday card orders. Or maybe you're announcing some new artwork medium that your clients can now print their images on. And text messages have a much higher open rate. I think it's something like 90% is the statistic for text message opens, whereas emails could be somewhere in the 20 to 30 percentiles. Remember, we're more likely to listen to voicemails, we're more likely to get text messages versus those marketing emails. Um, Let's see. Some of these things, text messages like this, the SMS marketing is really great for things like appointment reminders, deadlines for product orders, exclusive invitations. So, a great example might be sending a quick text that says something like, "Hey, I'm offering a very limited number of black background sessions next month. Reply with a yes if you'd like details." These messages should feel like they are coming from an acquaintance, like they're coming from a friend, not like they're coming from a robot. So write them yourself. If you need to get some ideas, use AI to generate some ideas, but definitely make sure that whatever you're sending them doesn't sound like a bot wrote it. A couple things to consider. You do not want to send more than one or two of these a month, unless they are actually related to an appointment that your client has coming up. And you also want to think about compliance. That is important. For SMS marketing, you want to get permission. So, some kind of opt in is critical if you want to use this option. Kim, I know you have used or have had some experience with SMS marketing. Did you want to add anything to that before I go on to paid social?
So, SMS marketing to me is a delicate proposition because it is so much more personal than email.
Uh-huh.
Like it comes directly to your phone. So, it's a very easy way for you to burn a relationship if you abuse it. So, I think when it comes to SMS marketing, you have to be more careful, especially in a business that doesn't like if you're a coffee house and you're giving out like a dollar off coupons or something, it's a little different. But if you're an equine photographer and you're working with somebody, maybe a couple of times a year or maybe once every couple of
Yeah.
years, it can get really overwhelming to people, and it can also burn a bridge where they don't wanna communicate with you at all. So, my biggest thing with SMS text marketing is just be careful with what you're doing, and again, remember, I think it was last episode we talked about this. The number one reason people kind of opt out of your marketing or block out your marketing is when it's irrelevant. So if you're going to send text messages, make sure they're relevant text messages.
I could see myself using this, with a really curated list of clients that I have worked with before that I had really positive relationship with, and I haven't worked with them in a year, and it's kind of that time, and
Yeah.
they might be interested in working with me and sending one message to remind them that I'm here. So maybe something really slimmed down. I couldn't imagine sending this out to, like, a mass group of people who have maybe at some point signed up for my mailing list or something like that. So,
Both the voice messaging and the SMS messaging that you're talking about, they're very intimate forms of
Mhm.
communication. In other words, it's level jumping on your relationship if you're not careful how you do it.
that's a good way to put it.
And that's one of the things I would caution people. You need to come into this mindfully. Don't just go, "Oh, I'm going to SMS market to everybody I email market to." That's not going to work. Email is a less intimate form of communication. So, um, definitely in our last episode, I talked about nurture versus bombard.
Mm,
SMS and these voice messages,
mhm.
they need to not be bombardy.
Yes, I totally agree because I know I people that I do business with, of course, nowadays they want your phone number, you know.
Yeah.
I mean that you almost can't even get in a account unless you give them your phone number. So then obviously I know you can go ahead and report it as junk or whatever, but sometimes you don't want to like totally cut off that relationship, but you just want to quit getting so much crap from them, you know?
It's so
Exactly.
true. It's
Yes.
so true.
I
Yeah.
mean
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you text me every day this week. It's somebody that I'm already doing business with. Stop, leave me alone," you know?
Yeah, that's relevancy.
Mhm.
That's the place where knowing that cycle of how your customers move into and through your business is so important because you're when you over communicate, especially the thing my biggest pet peeve is when businesses treat me like I am either a newbie or a longtime customer
Mm.
when I'm neither of those things, or especially the newbie thing.
Mhm.
Like, oh, new customers get 25% off. Okay, well, I've been your customer for 10 years and you're just
Mhm.
telling me that and you're not going to give me anything off, right?
Yeah,
Right,
right,
And
right,
then
right.
that
yeah.
just irritates me. That will get me to no longer be brand loyal.
Yeah.
So
Exactly,
you
yes.
just got to be careful with these very intimate forms of communication. And you've got to be careful with meeting your people where they are in the sales cycle. Cause that's the absolute key to all of this is meeting them where they are.
Mm, I like that.
So, so true. The last little piece that I want to talk about here is paid social media. So, this would be where you're actually running targeted ads to reach people in your service area. So, for me, that might be running a very targeted ad for local horse owners in my service area, something that's really targeted. This could be really great for filling last minute calendar gaps. You could even target it towards a particular population. So maybe senior, equestrian seniors, or if you want to introduce like, new products or something like that. So just being really specific about that. Paid ads can be great when they have an organic, can be really great, especially when your organic reach is shrinking. I don't know about you guys, but I could barely tolerate being on Facebook these days. I go on there and it seems like everything I see is either AI generated or it's a ad. So I very rarely go on there. So it would be really nice to see something that was from someone local, like from someone local. So it's just harder and harder to get seen without paying for that visibility these days. Paid ads can let you target your ideal audience in that really targeted area that you want to serve. So some examples for ad uses for equine photographers might include targeting for senior equestrian portraits or maybe seasonal promos such as holiday mini sessions, new product launches, or like I said before, just kind of filling some of those last minute openings. Um, what works for this type of ad? I think you have to have really strong visuals. They should be simple, clear, to the point, and they should have a call to action. In the past, I've run ads that were more about just like getting eyes and faces on my content, but I think that type of ad today is just gonna get lost in all of the other paid ads that are out there. So, I think the big thing then to consider with all of this is that freshness factor. Email inboxes are overloaded. We all see it every day when we hop into our inbox. Social feeds, they feel noisy. They feel full of ads. So trying to get creative about mixing your tools and creating kind of a comprehensive plan when you're marketing, using things like text, using things like paid ads, using all of the other things that we've talked about today is going to make you a little harder to miss. And they're just great ways to keep your clients engaged in multiple ways.
I will say on the paid social media marketing,
Mhm.
there's kinda 2 ways you can do it, especially in meta land. One way is you can boost something, which is, I think, what a lot of small business owners think is the only way you can get a paid ad. But there's actually paid marketing that you can do, paid advertising if you go
Mhm.
through, like, their business suite. And I I always tell my clients to look at their paid marketing kinda like this, like, what do you wanna do? Do you want awareness or consideration? So are you trying to get people to understand you exist, or are you trying to get people to buy something? So, those 2 propositions are really 2 different types of ads. So think first, do you wanna create awareness? Like, if you're a brand new business and nobody knows who you are, you may wanna create some awareness. If you're a more established business, then you may wanna look at consideration. But what you wanna do is work with that particular platform's technology so they can track what you're actually trying to do because it'll modify who that's going to. So it's a little more complicated than hitting the boost button on a post. And if you are going to invest in paid social media, invest in doing it through the way that you can help um, sort of filter into the places that are really gonna get you where you wanna go. And Facebook and Meta in particular has a lot of training that you can take, and then there's a ton of people on YouTube that will help you understand this. Please, when you're looking at YouTube videos, look at the date on the YouTube video. If it's
Such a
more
good
than
point.
6 months old, then it probably is not gonna have the most relevant content. And another thing I would recommend on this paid social media thing, if you really wanna understand it a little bit better, Kira and I went to Social Media Marketing World earlier this year as far as we did it online. We didn't actually go to San Diego or wherever it's at. But Michael Stelzner is the guy that runs that, he has a couple of podcasts, Social Media Marketing Examiner, Social Media Marketing Talk Show. Those always have the latest, greatest things, and so if you're looking for another podcast to listen to that's specific to this, I recommend their podcast because 'cause they're very that particular guy, Michael Stelzner, is just always seems on the up and up to me. He has
He's
really
on the
good
pulse of it for
information.
sure.
Yeah, it's good information if you're interested in exploring this avenue.
Good recommendation. All right. I hope we've inspired some folks to get out there and start putting
I
together
should
their
have.
fresh marketing
Freshy
plans.
fresh.
That's right. I know I'm working on mine. Okay, so you guys, thank you so much for listening. We're going to ask for a couple of things from you guys today. We would love it if you would give our podcast a 5-star review if you haven't done that already. So it's been a little while since we've asked for that. So if you're new to the show, it's really simple. Just go to the platform that you like to listen to and give us a little review. It means a lot to us and it helps us get seen out in the podcasting world. We would also like to invite you to check out our private online community, cowgirlswithcameras.community. We've also got our 2026 lineup of events coming soon. So if you haven't visited our website, our events page, we would love to see you over there. And then last but not least, don't forget you can find us on social media on Facebook, on Instagram, and our brand new TikTok account. So find Cowgirls with Cameras, any of the places that you like to hang out online. We hope to be there.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Cowgirls with Cameras. Don't let the laughter and learning stop here. Join our community on social media and be sure to visit our website for more opportunities to fulfill your photography goals. Head to cowgirlswithcameras.com. That's cowgirlswithcameras.com. See you next time.